Hi everybody, I'm Mike McCrory and this is Would You Make It? I've made several chessboard videos, and in one that I made a couple of years ago, I made 4 chessboards all at the same time, and I got a little careless while I was gluing one of them up. Some of you noticed and pointed it out in the comments, and thank you for that. So this one has alternating colors all the way across except for the last row where I glued them up identically. I was going to turn this into a cutting board, but I have a better idea, I think. At my office, we need a holder for this conference room phone. I have a lot of other offcuts from chessboards that I've made, so I'm going to glue those together. That will form the base. Put the Lazy Susan bearing on top, and then this will sit on top of that. So, let's get started. A Lazy Susan typically has 2 main components in addition to the bearing. There's the top piece that rotates, and there's the base. The base is normally smaller than the top, but in this case the base is going to be larger because it's going to fit between 2 tabletops in the conference room. So I'm going to glue up these chessboard offcuts to form the base. I'm going to use that failed chessboard for the top piece, and I'm going to cut off that additional row, and then I'll rotate it 90 degrees and cut off another row, and that will make a square piece that I can use to cut the circle. I'm going to cut the circle on my bandsaw, so I'm going to mark the center of the board and then drill a 1/4 inch hole. And then I've got a circle cutting board or jig that I have on my bandsaw that has a 1/4 inch bolt that protrudes up from the bottom, and that will fit into this hole. And this circle cutting jig was actually too small. I didn't realize it when I set it up, but I kept hitting the clamp as I turned around. So I removed the clamp and then just kind of did it freehand. So I'm glad I drew that circle with a compass so that I would have a line to follow. And because I did that freehand, I'll need to clean it up a little bit on the sander to get it down to the line. And now back to the base. I'll just run it through the drum sander multiple times to get it flat on both sides. And now I'm going to take those 2 pieces that I cut off and glue them to the bottom of the base, and I'm going to position them so that they're the distance equal to the separation of the tables in the conference room. So it's going to fit between the tables. This will become clearer at the end when you see it in the conference room. And now that they're glued up, I'm just going to cut them flush to the side of the board. And now I'm cutting some strips of walnut and screwing them into the bottom of the base, and this will hold it securely onto the table. It turns out that I didn't really need these, but I did it anyway, so at some point I may end up removing these to make it easy to slide all the way along the table without interfering with the legs, but for now I've decided to leave them on. And now I'm cutting a hole in the center of the base, and I'm cutting a fairly large hole to make it easy to feed the cable through, even though it's only a small Ethernet cable. And now I'm cutting slots for the feet of the conference phone. And now on the underside of the top piece, I'm cutting a slot to feed the cable. And the reason for this is because the cable sticks out of the back of the phone, and so it doesn't go down the center. It needs to feed in through the back portion of the top and then feed in toward the center and then down. And next I'll round over all the edges with a 1/4 inch round over bit. And now it's time to install the bearing. So I'm going to center it and then drill holes for the screws. And then I'm drilling a hole for attaching to the other side. And I started to drill holes for all 4 slots, but I really only needed 1. So I ended up drilling all the way through with only 1.
And that allows me to get my screwdriver in through the bottom to screw the bearing into the underside of the top. And then I'll disassemble it, wipe everything down with water to raise the grain, sand it again, and then apply some finish. In this case, I'm using pre-catalyzed lacquer, which is really easy to apply and dries very quickly, so I can get the whole thing finished all in the same day. And then I'll reassemble it and put it into the conference room.
So there it is, a sliding, swiveling conference room phone. The only problem is we're in the middle of a pandemic, so there's nobody here to use it. So I gotta ask, would you make it?